The signature lock set gives more advanced technology, making the industry's most unique and functional locking system even smarter than before. VinCard Signature is available with both wireless online capabilities and Assa Abloy Hospitality mobile access, so guests can access rooms using smartphone technology or watch via digital access key. Signature lock set dimensions can be found on the release templates provided by Assa Abloy Hospitality. This is to assure that all cuts are precise and tolerances are not exceeded. Tools required to assemble and mount the signature lock set include a Torx T20 security driver, a Phillips screwdriver, needle nose pliers, and a cylinder fixing tool that is supplied by Assa Abloy Hospitality. Let's identify the parts prior to installation. It's important to understand how these parts are described in case spare parts are needed later. The lock case comes in different varieties and handings, so be sure the lock case provided matches the installation on the door. Handing is determined by the ingress and hinge of the door. For this example, observe the hinge and which way the door swings. Varieties of lock cases include ANSI Standard and ANSI ADB, with either the deadbolt above or below the latch. Strikes must match the type lock case being installed. These can include the ANSI Standard 4 7/8 inch for standard lock case installations, or ANSI ADB with a curved lip. ADB strikes are also typically 4 7/8 inches, but with a curved lip to aid in the automatic deadbolt trigger, ejecting the deadbolt once the door closes. The outside front plate is a cover plate placed over the lock case on the edge of the door to have a nice finished look. The lock case screw pack is a bag of screws to fasten the lock case, strike, and outside front plate. These screws come in different varieties to make sure that all the types of doors and finishes are covered. The typical pack has screws that come in satin brass and satin chrome finishes. A hardware kit includes parts necessary to fasten the lock set onto the door. Some parts within these kits are based on door dimensions. Parts included in these kits are 2 M5 screws to fasten the handles onto the door, 1 brass spindle to fasten the thumb turn on the inside of the door and operate the deadbolt, 1 pair of handle retainers to keep the door handles level, 1 complete split spindle for the handles to operate the lock set, 1 plastic spindle clip to hold the split handle spindle in place, 1 battery cartridge, and 1 mounting frame and 2 mounting frame screws. This is to hold the electronics in place under the battery cover. Handles can come in different varieties of styles and finishes. Be sure to check to make sure that the handles match the other doors installed on the property. The Lock Control Unit, or LCU, is the reader and controller of the lock set. It has a capability of reading VinCard keycards as well as digital key data from a smartphone if the proper kit is applied. The Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE circuit board, if installed, is required to read the data from the smartphone. The lock case adapter, or LCA, is used as an interconnection between the LCU, lock case, and battery. The Bluetooth kit is needed when the lock requires the capability of reading digital key data from a smartphone or watch. This kit includes a mounting bracket to hold the Bluetooth board, a metal shield plate, a 3-point cable to connect in series with the LCU, and longer posts for proper mounting. The Bluetooth or BLE board can be identified by its blue coloring of the printed circuit board. Once mounted in the kit, the board is located on the outside of the door for optimum communication. An RF end node is required if the lock set is intended to be installed in an online environment. If the property does not have a Vision-Line system that supports online functionality, the end node will not be included with the Lockset. If the Vision-Line system is being installed to support both online and mobile access, a 4-point cable will need to be added to connect both boards in series with the LCU. Today's battery cover kit features a cutout in the metal lining to support RF online communication if intended to be online now or in the future. Also included is a bracket to mount the RF online board. If metal key cylinders are included, this allows the mechanical override that will not only retract the latch bolt, but also retracts the deadbolt. Note, if a metal key is used in the Lockset, a switch is activated sending a signal to the LCU to record an event in the lock's audit trail. Slide the lock case into the door, being careful not to pinch the cables. Once the lock case is completely in the door, fasten the lock case using the correct type lock case screws. The preferred screws from the lock case screw pack are the M5 25mm screws. Before installing the handle spindle will need to be installed and secured. Prior to sliding the handle spindle through the lock case, screw the female spindle onto the male spindle. Once completely screwed on, reverse it about 3/4 of a turn to give it some play. Slide the spindle through the door from the outside. The spindle will stop. Observe the inside of the door that the hole in the female spindle is now visible. Take the spindle clip from the hardware kit and slide it onto the female spindle on the inside of the door. This will secure the spindle in the lock case. A small tug should indicate that the spindle is secure. Next, prepare the thumb turn knob. Insert the brass spindle from the hardware kit into the thumb turn knob. For a proper fit, the marked end of the spindle must be inserted into the thumb turn knob. Insert the thumb turn into the lock case. If installing a lock case with the deadbolt above the latch bolt, insert the thumb turn knob upwards. If the deadbolt is below, insert the thumb turn downwards. The reason is to have a pushing effect toward the latch side of the frame. At delivery, the handle retainers are not installed and can be found in the hardware kit. The handle retainers must be inserted into the handle rows according to the lock case type and handing. In this example, the lock installed is a right-handed lock with an ANSI DA lock case. This means the retainer with the black plastic is inserted into the rows of the outside handle. This is confirmed by the word right etched onto the plastic of the handle retainer. The lock case in this example is an ANSI type. Place the retainer with the metal notch on the ANSI setting inside the rows and snap it in. Align the metal notch towards the handle side of the rows. Repeat this process with the all-white plastic retainer on the inside handle rows, and again making sure that the notch in the rows is placed in the ANSI setting of the plastic retainer and aligning the notch to the handle side of the rows. Place the handles onto the handle spindle. This should be a snug fit. Screw the handles together using the long screws from the hardware kit. There are 2 pairs of screws, so use the ones that fit best based on the door thickness. Before continuing to the next step, test by extending the deadbolt and press on the inside handle to retract the deadbolt. This operation should work smoothly and not cause any extra pressure on the handle to retract the latch. If a cylinder is included, prepare the cylinder by threading the cylinder through the spring and ring, then begin threading the cylinder into the lock case cylinder hole, being careful not to cross thread. Plug position is important. If the cylinder is not installed correctly, it will cause the cylinder not to move correctly and not retract the deadbolt or latch properly. In this example, the cylinder is installed with the plug at the 6 o'clock position. If the deadbolt was below the latch, the plug would be flipped 180 degrees and positioned at the 12 o'clock position. Prepare the tool by positioning the plug and the fixing tool midway through the barrel. Screw the set screw down into the tool until the set screw stops. Thread the set screw using the fixing tool when the screw is in place. Unlock the plug using the Allen wrench. Back the tool off the set screw. Test to make sure the cylinder is in position by turning the key and try to back the cylinder out. If the cylinder does not move, it is secure. Attach the outside front plate to the edge of the door using finished screws from the lock case screw pack. Before installing the electronics, best practice is to do some pre-assembly to minimize the time of the door when installing a lock set. Assemble the finished skirt and screw on the mounting spacing post onto the lock control unit or LCU. The posts are located in the packet with the LCU. If installing a mobile access kit, use the longer posts provided with the BLE kit. Assemble the lock case adapter or LCA by placing the white connections into the LCA bracket designed for the signature lock set. Mount the LCU on the door. On the inside of the door, install the mounting frame and use the mounting frame Torx screws from the hardware kit. Make sure that the mounting frame is aligned correctly and tighten the screws. Snap on the online bracket. Prior to mounting the lock case adapter or LCA, guide the lock case wire, ground cable, and LCU wire through the bottom of the mounting frame. Slide the LCA onto the mounting frame. Move the metal tabs to properly mount the wires. Begin guiding the wires. First, start with the ground cable. Guide the wire from the bottom and connect it to the tab on the top of the mounting frame. Next, connect a 10-pin connector of the lock case wire onto the LCA and tuck the wire and secure with metal tabs on the left side of the mounting frame. Connect the 7-pin LCU wire to the LCA and guide the wire around the right side of the mounting frame. Load the batteries into the battery holder. Slide the battery holder behind the online bracket. Guide the battery wire down the right side of the mounting frame and connect the battery wire to the LCA. Secure the LCU wire and battery wire using the metal tabs of the mounting frame. Then, secure the extra wires on the bottom of the mounting frame. Attach the battery cover with the Torx T20 screwdriver. If installing an ASA Abloy Hospitality Mobile Access Kit, online board, or both, follow this procedure. If included, prepare the housing of the mobile access option by threading the 3 or 4-point cable through the mobile access metal plating and attach the cable to the mobile access board. Snap the board into the plastic mounting bracket included with the mobile access kit. Guide the wires of the cable into the groove. Place the metal shield into the housing to cover the mobile access board. Thread the LCU cable through the center hole of the mobile access housing, and guide the cable, being careful not to pinch the cable. Slide the mobile access housing onto the post of the LCU. Mount the LCU assembly onto the door. On the inside of the door, install the mounting frame using the mounting frame Torx screws from the hardware kit. Make sure that the mounting frame is aligned correctly and tighten the screws. If an online board is included, connect the board to the 3 or 4-point cable and snap the board onto the online bracket. Snap the connection for the LCU on the online bracket, and then connect the LCU on the back side of the bracket. Snap the online bracket onto the mounting frame. Begin guiding the wires. First, start with the ground cable. Guide this from the bottom and connect it to the tab on the top of the mounting frame. Next, connect the 10-pin connector of the lock case wire onto the LCA and tuck the wire and secure with the metal tabs on the left side of the mounting frame. Connect the 3 or 4-point cable to the LCA. Guide the wire around the right side of the mounting frame. Load the batteries into the battery holder. Connect the battery holder to the LCA. Slide the battery holder behind the online bracket. Guide the battery wire down the right side of the mounting frame. Secure the 3 or 4-point cable and the battery wire using the metal tabs of the mounting frame. Attach the battery cover with the Torx T20 screwdriver. Before allowing the door to close, make these few checks for proper operation. During installation, make sure that no wires are pinched or crimped. Use the thumb turn to engage the deadbolt. Use the inside handle and both the latch and deadbolt should retract freely with no binding. If installed, test the cylinder to make sure that the latch bolt can be retracted. Also make sure that the deadbolt can be extended and retracted with the metal key. If able, initiate the door lock and test with a key card for proper electronic operation. And finally, allow the door to close. And that's it. And thank you for being an ASA Abloy hospitality customer.